Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. Both parties have challenges, but Republicans have the challenge of governing while Democrats are trying to figure out how they lost and looking mostly in the wrong places. The great thing about living in a constitutional republic is there's always another election. So your fates can change, but not unless you learn lessons in your defeat. After Barack Obama won, autopsies and epitaphs were written on the GOP, and 2 years later, Obama lost the House. Whatever mandate he had sure didn't last very long. And then Obama created a demand for a very different style of politics, which led to Donald Trump. Very few people predicted when Donald Trump left office in January of 2021 that he would return 4 years later even stronger than when he left. History is not always kind to the party in power. 2 years is what you should plan for, although Trump has defied history before. So how to hit the ground running, and while Democrats are evaluating why they lost, are they even looking in the right places? Are fringe elements drowning out blue state governors capable of winning in red and purple states? Joining us is Fox News contributor Mr. Karl Rove. Welcome, Karl. If you plan on having 2 years, where should the GOP start, and how can they keep this small margin coalesced?
Well, they could start by focusing early next year on things where success is possible and where it's being demanded by the American people. Some of that can be done through the executive, for example, rolling back a lot of the rules and regulations and unnecessary red tape that's burdening American business, particularly small business. But it is going to require action in Congress. So if you look at the political landscape, the thing that they have the best chance of pulling together something and getting it done relatively quickly, meaning within a matter of months, is probably something to do with the border, because even Democrats are now realizing that this is a political problem for them and a huge challenge for the country, and that we better get our act together.
All right, people tend to remember what happened last, and for Biden, that was his party forcing him out for a candidate who wound up getting trounced, and then pardoning his son and others like the Cash for Kids judge. What do you think history will say about Joe Biden?
Well, it's not going to be pleasant, at least in the short run. We're going to see that history says you were the guy who was responsible through the Build Back Better, or excuse me, the American Rescue Plan and other activities in kicking off a gigantic burst of inflation. We were already challenged by the fact that COVID had occurred and that supply chains were stretched to the limit. But even Democrats like, Barack Obama's Secretary of the Treasury, Larry Summers, warned if you spend this much money, you're going to cause inflation. And it did. And it's caused a huge problem. A gigantic reset is now underway in America, where people realize their paychecks are here, and the amount of money they now need to spend for what they used to be able to match with that paycheck are now here, and the gap between the two is not yet closed. The second thing that they're going to remember him for is weakness on the international front, almost from the beginning moment, most visibly seen in the withdrawal, the bloody, unnecessary withdrawal from Afghanistan that emboldened the dictators in Moscow, Tehran, Pyongyang, and Beijing to see America as weak, and led, in my opinion, directly to the Russian invasion of Ukraine and to the emboldening of our adversaries in the Middle East and the attack on October 7th on Israel. So he's going to be seen as, at home, debilitating our economy, and abroad they're going to be seen as a man whose weakness invited attacks on our allies and our friends. And then we're going to be left with the moment we saw on June 27th when he debated Donald Trump and showed himself incapable of putting two sentences together. He will be seen as a man who should not have been there in the first place, and certainly should never have considered running for a second term, because he wasn't up to fulfilling and finishing his first term with strength and vigor, let alone trying to seek 8 years of office in the White House.
All right, here's one explanation for what happened in November. We'll listen to it together, and then I'll get your take on it.
The Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren faction of the Democrat Party, with some of this, defund the police. These things had a lot of people in the middle class just flee the Democratic Party. They're now Republicans. How could they have so badly misread the public mood? Democrats have badly misread the direction of the country and the attitude of the country, and President Trump took advantage of that, as well he should.
What are the lessons Democrats should learn? Is it the party of the squad or the Andy Beshears and the Jared Polises of the world?
Well, I think Senator Romney was right. They went far too left, and it colored people's perception of who they were. And when they came into the set of challenges that were at the top of everybody's mind in 2024, inflation, the border, America's position in the world, our military strength, the cultural fabric of the country, the Democrats were on the wrong side of all of those issues. And they didn't seem to get it, particularly the cultural side of the issues. And the American people said the more they heard about where they were on those kind of issues, the more they said, well, I'm nowhere near that. You're against the values that I hold dear. And you toss on top of that the broken border, the rampant inflation, a weak military, and a dangerous world. And the Democrats were in a pickle. Now, they came close. Don't get me wrong. They cut our margin in the House. They lost the Senate. They lost the White House. But they lost the White House by 1.5% in the popular vote. We ought to remember that, because the Democrats have big problems. The Republicans have lesser problems, but they still have to do a better job of explaining who they are to get a more substantial majority than a 1.5% victory in the popular vote.
Karl Rove sharing wisdom at the end of 2024. I look forward to seeing you early in the new year, and happy holidays to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.